Yes, people, it is your boy Jo-ell from Jo-ell's Barbershop, and I'm on a mission to seek every sick barbershop in the country, so let's go for it. Yes, people, so we are back in Leeds and we are going to go see Hair Sessions, and I'm keen to see this shop because it's a little bit different to what we've typically seen before. So yeah, let's go see him and see what he's saying.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you, bro.
How's things, bro? Welcome to Hair Sessions. So this is my little space in the heart of Leeds. We've been open for about 8 months altogether, so not long at all. I'll run you through a couple of the features. Obviously, we are quite a small space, so it's not going to take too long to give you the full walk around, to be fair. But we've got literally everything's Belmont in here, so down from the chairs, the stools, and the basins that come out. So we have forward washers as well.
That is so sick. I love this, man.
What can I say, man? They do the business, to be fair. They're a nice piece of kit, to be fair.
Even like storage shampoos and that, bro.
Yeah, to be fair, I am actually representing my boys there. They've got a shop in Leeds as well. They're really good friends of mine, so I'll stock a couple of their products. And yeah, going over to products, actually, I'll run you through. We are Crazy Bull through and through. That's one of my sponsors for my personal brand and stuff like that. And obviously those guys hooked me up with everything for the shop. So all Crazy Bull, we've obviously got the coffee, iPads, everything set in. We're hopefully going to do a couple of little upgrades in the future as well. We're on about getting a projector because I'm an educator, so I'd like to have the projector basically sat on here and facing there. So we've got some big plans. It's going to look a whole lot greener in here soon as well. We're trying to basically get some plants and stuff like that that don't need too much.
Monstars, bro, is what you want. Monstars,
exactly.
I filled out my shop.
He's a plant daddy too, bro.
I swear, honestly, my shop's
that's my pride and joy over there, to be fair. We actually got broken into, so that's hence the reason. If any eagle-eyed viewers see my plant and see the fact that there's a couple of ones missing, we got broken into, and they thought it'd be a great idea to break my plant.
No way.
Take what you want, just don't touch the fucking plant. But yeah, man.
What is that? What is that plant? Do you know the name?
It's a Birds of Paradise. Yes. So we've got a big baby coming through, to be fair. I was hoping by the time you guys got here, but with it being winter, it is a little bit slower. So yeah, man. That's pretty much the shop, to be honest with you. It's all like concrete floors. Everything on the walls is like a Venetian plaster mixed with like grey. So it looks like more of a concrete effect. Obviously, we've got that big 360 light, so it's beautiful lighting in here. That's one thing that I really wanted to make sure with the shop, like it was bright and it had that sort of like daylight almost feel to it. Because sometimes if it's too cool, it drowns your clients out and nobody likes looking at themselves in the mirror underneath that kind of lighting. So need a little bit of warmth in there for especially people that are like borderline albino, such as myself. It's one of those. And yeah, like when it comes down to equipment, again, I've got a couple of sponsors with them. So everything scissors wise is Leaf Scissors. They're obviously a new brand. Well, I say new, but they've actually been going for quite a while. I really like working with those guys as well. So their goal is by 2025 to plant 1 million trees.
Sick.
So
I love that,
I think we're on like 140,000. So we've got a lot of doing, you know, like a lot more subscriptions to do. But that's the way that they work, is like a subscription basis for your scissors. So it's really, really affordable. And to be honest with you, like I've been using like Casios, which are about £1,000 pair of scissors. I'm not gonna lie, using those, which I think retail at about 300 quid. So you're only gonna be like £20 a month. You get a fantastic pair of scissors and they hold their own with it. And again, every time you pay a subscription, I think they plant like 10 trees. They've come out with their product line as well with Charlie soon. So yeah, man, that should be pretty decent. And then obviously Calligraphy Cut as well, which is a really, really new brand, which is the razor that I use, which is that little pen here.
That's
so
sick.
These are really, really cool. Like, So he like cuts their hair on a 21-degree angle, so you get 270% more coverage at the end. It makes you feel like you can't cut hair for shit. Like,
I get nervous.
But there's something nice about it. Like, we all know how it is. You know, when sometimes you just get like a little bit bored, like, and you fancy like almost like bringing in a new medium.
Yeah.
Like the movement that you get with that, bro, but you don't get the frizz that a razor would. So there's still more things that I'm needing to learn. Like I've on the Black Star Award, and then they do like a Silver Star and a Gold, which is where you go out and go see Frank, who's an amazing guy over in Germany. So I'm looking forward to meeting those guys. I think we're doing a UK launch actually in, I think is it April, somewhere around that area, down in London. And then I think we're doing something in Leeds as well. I wanted to host it here, but you can't like there's limitations, like obviously it's not the most like large space, do you know what I mean? So yeah, there are limits to obviously the amount of people that we can get here, so quite looking forward to well, we'll go over it obviously in the little interview and stuff like that, and talk about all the team things that we've got coming up, and yeah, like this is that's my shop.
First of all then, how long you been barbering?
Cutting hair officially about 10 years altogether. Jeez. So it's quite a bit of time, to be fair, like for a 26-year-old lad. But technically, like my parents like just had me in the shop since I was like about 12, somewhere around that area. So
both your parents quit?
Yeah, so like everybody in my family is a hairdresser. Sick. So it's like a long line, to be honest with you. I believe it was my granddad who came out of the pits. He started cutting hair, then my grandma started doing it. I think my grandma on my dad's side as well was a hairdresser. My nana used to have a salon. My mum was Tony and Guy, my dad was Sassoon's, and then I eventually started working for those guys pretty much straight away. So I was taking Phyllis's perm rods out at like the ages of 12, somewhere around that area, which is kind of mad now, like thinking about it. It's so long ago, but it really did, like I hated it at the time, because obviously you just wanted to be like, I was a massive skate park kid, so I had to do a certain amount of hours in the shop, and then basically I could go and do whatever I wanted to do then. And you know what, like it was great because it just gave me the work ethic that I still sort of have today, to be honest with you. Like I consider myself as somebody who grasps what they want to achieve, and to be fair, that backbone of everything was literally instilled by my parents, you know what I mean? So they just like made me work, but hated it at the start, as you do when you're a kid.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I understood it as soon as I got older. Like especially when I started my apprenticeship and I already knew how to do quite a few things with hair that nobody else would really have the choice, like the chance to sort of get hands on with. So yeah, it was really, really good start to things. Then I moved into Russell Eaton, which is a women's hairdresser in Leeds, which is phenomenal, to be honest with you. I didn't know whether I made the right decision right at the start, because I got an offer basically for Sassoon's or Russell Eaton. And when I was educated on what Russell Eaton was, and then I actually went in and spoke to Russell himself, who gave me the interview, you could just kind of tell the fact that that was a better place for me to be. And yeah, like honestly, if I could go back to those days and appreciate them a little bit more, because obviously I was young and everyone else went to uni, and eventually that ended up with me getting sacked from that shop. Yeah, man, like it's one of those things, like after a certain amount of time, you're seeing all your friends go to uni and they're in their first year and you start partying, and I was a bit of a late bloomer to all of that. So I was about 18 when I was like sort of starting to go out properly. Like I was a little stoner kid for like God knows how long, like, so I didn't really know that world. But as soon as obviously I started getting into it, then yeah, like those things do happen. And it takes your eye off of what's actually important, but you've got to do it. It's life experiences, man. Like, and I'm happy with the fact that I've had those experiences, to be honest with you, because it does actually give you you're more grateful for actually stability and all of those sort of things that you value nowadays, and make these things sort of possible. Because if you're still doing that sort of shit, like you ain't going to be getting too far. No. Like, and you only understand that when you've made the mistakes and done it yourself, like personally. So yeah, that were an amazing start though. Russell Eaton, like they used to take you on like shoots, like I was doing like Yves Saint Laurent shoots. I think I had a look at my Instagram a bit ago when I was looking down. I think it was like 17, and like on an Yves Saint Laurent shoot, which is just like fucking mad. Like to think about now, like just assisting Rob and Emily and all of those people that were sort of involved with the session side of things. It's even like people doing like Trend Vision. I don't know if you know of it. It's like a female sort of. It's run by Weller. And they do like these huge productions, basically. Like it's like all this like auditions, you'd like submit everything, and then if you got through, which those guys did, you get to watch them like go on stage and like win awards and all that sort of thing. And that really was what gave me an understanding of it ain't just all this. Like the hair industry is vast. Like you could go down 1,000,001 routes, and you could start at the beginning and you could be at the top of one bit, which again is something that I'm realizing now, which I'm like sort of, you know, been doing education now for a year, and I've started at the bottom of that, and it's now sort of starting to click. The other day I got asked by, do you know Dat Barber? He's down in London, so he works for Left Side Creative, which is Jodie Taylor's and Charlie Cullen's like sort of agency. Like I think Jodie's the actual one that runs it. He took me down to a shoot, and we shot for Days magazine.
Okay.
Honestly, bro, like you just feel like there's this whole new world, like, and there's something about it. Like for me, like I'm a very sort of ADHD scatterbrain, so like I can handle a lot of things at the same time, but at the same time, like it's nice to do something and feel like you're learning, like right from the bottom. Like there's something nice about that, and I think that's why I'm gonna delve a little bit more into that industry over like the next 6 months. If obviously I get the call as well, because it's a cutthroat industry. You've got to be so prepared like for it, and you've just got to drop everything and go. Like that's just the way that industry's worked. I've spoken to other people before, and they've said exactly the same thing. So it takes commitment. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I ended up having 3 hours sleep the night before going to that. So like literally I finished at 10. Had to get on the train straight to London, got there for about 8 o'clock, then I had to go to the location, which was near like Boiler Room, the pickle factory in London, literally there, and then you do like basically a 12, 14-hour day, just basically.
That's chaos.
It's mental, isn't it, though? But I don't know, there's just something about it that just gives you like this like buzz, and that keeps you going for the day. But yeah, it's exciting, to be honest with you. I can't wait. Anyway, I've done too much of this.
No, you can't.
No.
I was going to say, how long have you had this for now?
So I've had this for now 9 months, I think it's coming up to. So I think we're just short of 9 months now. It's been a great experience. Massey, who, like I said, who sort of did the shop out and I rent the space from, like he's been amazing at just basically just giving me little bits of information of, like say if I've got a query or I've ended up like sort of in a sticky situation where I don't really understand it being a first-time business owner, because there's a whole sort of, you know, side of things that people don't see to owning a shop, which is the bills and all the other things like business rates and how to get exemptions and all this sort of jazz. Like you just don't know. So the fact that I could actually rent a business or like a sort of like a shell essentially, like, and he can help me with all those nitty-gritty bits that you just don't know about, like it's phenomenal. It's made it 10 times easier for me to understand, and without him sort of helping me out and, you know, offering up this space, like I wouldn't be able to do half of the things that I'm now doing. So forever grateful. Shout out Massey.
Big up, man.
He's a guy. So is his family as well. But it's great having those guys next door. Like I said, like if I ever do women's hair or I'm doing a colour, I can occasionally go next door and get a little bit of advice off of those guys, and they're a fantastic team as well. So shout out to them, man. Like. But yeah, it's been a action-packed 9 months, to be honest with you. Like,
what's the plan with building a team? What are you gonna do?
So the team, like obviously, I've been by myself. I've been figuring things out for the meantime, and I just thought like I kind of wanted people to come in straight away. Like I had a plan for obviously some people to start with me, and obviously those things like don't work out. I've had a couple of people work for me, and it hasn't worked out as well, and I think it's been a bit of a blessing, to be honest with you, because I've been able to figure out my routine and how things work before bringing somebody else on board and then struggling, do you know what I mean, to like sort of give them the advice or whatever it is, because like I say, it's my first business. Like I'm a hairdresser at the end of the day. Like I know how to do things as a sole trader, but as a limited company and as a business, like that's a whole different kettle of fish. And I think you've got to have a certain level of maturity where you have to do those things first and figure them out before you then start taking on a team, which is now where we're at, where I can now sort of instill, you know, other elements and other people and other personalities into this brand. Because I've always said that it's a freelance space. It's not a place where you just come in and I'm going to spoon feed you like opportunities. It's you run your own brand and you essentially make my business look good as a byproduct of your own success. And that comes down to a personal level. I want people to have freedom. As long as you pay your rent, you can come and go as you please. You just hold a standard and you're polite to people as they come in, and you don't miss work if you've got it booked in, do you know what I mean, and make the business look bad as a whole. Other than that, do what you want, do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to, on Sunday, bring in cameras and you want to do your own thing, or you want to educate some people yourself, like, that's what the space is there for, is to freedom for personal growth as well as business growth, if that makes sense. So it should be really cool to see when some people come on board and really utilize that, which I haven't had yet, not due to their own sort of like, you know, problems and stuff like that. It's not anything on them. It's just they weren't in a part of their career where they really could do that. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be nice when I get some people that, you know, actually are at that point where they just want to step up. They've reached the roof. That's really what I'm seeing this place as, is it's a next step for those people. So it should be quite interesting, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a shout, man. Let's talk about some barber mental health stuff, man.
Yeah, man, 100%.
This is always my favourite topic because it's something that isn't really spoken about a lot. But do you feel like the whole thing of, you know, being a barber with your mental health and stuff, to be performing at your best when you're dealing with customers and stuff, do you think that's kind of something that's tricky to overcome for, let's say, you know, you've got some new people coming in now.
Yeah.
How would you address that kind of situation with your new staff? Like, what would you say to them if it was a case of being like, look, if you're not at your best some days, this is what you need to do to kind of bring yourself back? I mean, what's your advice on that, man?
It's hard, isn't it? I think as a business owner, I think if you can't just basically say that this is the one way. Yeah, there's no like one route for it to work for everybody.
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, everybody's different and everybody has their own way of going about things. And to be honest with you, like, when I've suffered from like issues from like family and stuff like that, I found work as personally as like my counselling. Like, I can definitely say that some of the advice that I've been given by customers and other barbers as well over the years has probably helped me actually deal with those things. So I've always seen it as a real positive light, but I know that ain't always going to be the case for other people. Some people just need time to process, and I think that's the key word there, really, isn't it? It's how you process certain things. And as a business owner or somebody who sort of runs the shop, all I can really do is just say, listen, like, take your time to process. As long as they're not taking the piss with it and not just milking it, like, you've got to do you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I totally understand that. So that might be taking a week off of the shop. Like, I've known businesses that I've worked for before. Like, I used to work at Barbershop. There's a lad there that was going through some bits. I won't mention names and like what were going on for obvious reasons, but it just really stuck with me that how he dealt with it was just take your time. Just literally, you don't have to pay me rent, just take your time. And like, that's how I would like to go about things, is if you need the time, then take the time. If you need some advice, I'm here for you. Like, but that's all you really can do, because at the end of the day, you can't hold somebody's hand and, you know, tell somebody how to sort of deal with things. Do you know what I mean? Because God knows what else is going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I've definitely found, like, personally, my work's been my therapy. It always has been. Like, talking to people, I still to this day, like, I've had a client list for that long now. I've got some customers that sometimes I don't know who's counselling who. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've got like fantastic advice, like whether it be business, whether it be just general life things. Like, they've probably helped me and probably saved my head and my mental space like countless times, to be honest with you. But I find, like, I don't know, being a barber as well, like sometimes when your mental health, like, I find it when I'm in a down space, I'm like unmotivated. So sometimes I find, like, just take a step back, listen to your body and listen to what your head's saying. If it doesn't mean just basically smash the back out of 10 clients a day and, like, do you know what I mean? And overwork yourself. Sometimes you need that little bit of peace and quiet and just to turn off a little bit, like, and just take yourself away from it and then come back and then I've got my motivation again. I think it's only in the last like 2 years that I've really found my way of working. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that has all stemmed from my personal growth rather than just thinking all about, you know, how to cut hair and all that sort of jazz. Like, that's one thing, but you have to work on your personal growth at the same time. And I think that's one of those things where I would have to say that to somebody, is if I see them in the same situations over and over again, then I am going to be pretty blunt. Like, what are you doing to help yourself? Like, I have to have these conversations, and I've had people say this to me, and it's resonated after a certain amount of time. It might take a couple of times, but like, eventually you do sort of come to the realization that, you do need to do something yourself. You can't just expect to get older and you're just going to know. Like, you have to read some books, you have to make some mistakes, you have to do all of these things that collectively grow you as a person, and that just takes time, to be honest with you. Like, and I think when you're working with younger people, you have to just be a little bit patient. I was out, like, getting off my tits and stuff like that, and probably pissing business owners off. Like, I've been there, I've done it personally. Like, I slow that side of my life down now. You have to have your blowouts, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you don't need that to be your whole personality, if that makes sense. And that's what I've learned. So you've got to be understanding of the fact that some 17, 18-year-old kids are going to come through as an apprentice, and they're going to go through those things that you've been through. And I think sometimes business owners can forget that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you've been here.
Remembering people ain't robots saying it.
Exactly. Everyone's making their own path, man. Like, so it's one of those things. You just got to have patience. And I think that only comes with a bit of time as well. Like, you do learn as you get older to be a little bit more patient with things and not just blow off the handle because something isn't going your way. It's immature, to be honest with you. Like, you have to understand people in order to run a shop, I think. So it's one of those. It's quite something I'm looking forward to be honest with you. Like, it is it's going to be cool. Like, definitely.
What do you think about other barbers and them failing in whatever it is they're doing? So let's say, it seems to be a common thing that, you know, people set up as a barber, give it a few months, then knock it on the head, don't they? Like, it seems to be quite well advertised.
It's patience again.
It is, isn't it?
Like, Rome wasn't built in a day, man. Like, literally, like, you can't expect to come into something and just be the best at something. Like, you have to give it your all. You have to give it patience. I think quite a lot of my experience when I've seen people sort of get into it, they just think it's like this really like cool thing to get into, and it's quite easy, and I can just cut all my boys' hair and all this sort of jazz. Like, it's not how it works. If you want to be like a mediocre McDonald's kind of barber and you want to charge absolutely nothing, then that is pretty much what you can do. But if you want to excel at something, and I think this is anything in a creative sort of industry, you get what you put in. You have to put in 100% in order to feel like you're going to get somewhere with that career, because otherwise barbering's that oversaturated and there's that many people out there that are actually talented as well. You're just going to blend into the rest, bro. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that that is going to be the case for you. So you have to give it your all. And I think that is why people fail, to be honest with you. Granted, sometimes personal things come in. Like, there are things where I've seen people set up shops and there's been other factors from investors, even myself, like where I was supposed to open up a shop last year and it didn't go to plan, like, and that sucked. But take it as a lesson, come back faster and more knowledgeable about it. Don't see it as, right, well, that's just it. Because I think some people can just roll over onto their bellies and just be like, right, well, that was that. Like, it is one of those. It takes sacrifice to build something that you're passionate about. Like, that's just how things are in anything. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I was going to say as well, like, what would your advice be to someone starting off as a barber? But I mean, I suppose everything that you said kind of comes into that. It's patience, isn't it? So, I mean, a lot of people will come in, try it for a little bit, and then be like, oh, I can't fade like him, so I'm going to knock it on the head now.
It's finding the right place to start as well.
That is important.
Like, I'm not going to lie, there are some companies out there that are just there to get your brass. Like, and that's it. Like, you need to pick and be a little bit more confident in, are you the right place for me, instead of somebody just going, like, you know, like feeling like they hold the cards. Because at the end of the day, if you're just brand new, like, and you're going to spend all of this money, you need to make hell sure the fact that it's the right place. Like, I think in the men's industry, there's problems. I think in the female industry, there's problems. Like, they should all be starting to, you know, sort of escalate. Like, I know countless places where it's like, you've just done a course for like however many months and you can't cut hair. Well, why do you think that is? You've just done a 6-month course and you think that you're going to be a barber. Like, it's not as easy as that. Like, it takes years to really get in there. And that's why I was glad the fact that my apprenticeship, like, was 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's how I would say is the best way of getting into being a barber, is doing an apprenticeship. But it's hard right now because, let's be honest, VAT's gone through the fucking roof at the moment. It's hard for people to sort of take on apprentices. That's something that I think that the government needs to actually sort out and address. Like, but it is one of those things that, again, takes time to get funding and all that sort of thing. And it's hard as well, not just from getting funding, but it's also finding the right candidate there to, do you know what I mean? Like, actually stay with your business, because everyone's got a horror story with an apprentice. It's always how it is. Like, some people who just thought that they were going to fall into it, and people have got horror stories of where they was an apprentice, because I think I don't know, someone put it, who was it? Lee Stafford, I think, put it, just because you got oranges for Christmas don't mean that your kids should, kind of thing. Like, so it's just passing down, well, my boss used to be an arsehole to me, so I'm going to be an arsehole to this guy. Like, that's not going to inspire anybody. Like, and that's why I hope if I take on an apprentice, they're coming with me to shoots, they're seeing this, like, same things that inspired me, they'll be doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, they will have those same sort of inspiring sort of realizations where you don't have to just sit behind a chair. So I think that's really what it is inspiring, and find somewhere that you can get inspired from. Like, and I think larger chain shops can give that, but then sometimes you blend into the background because they are just vast companies. So just be a bit picky. Like, even if you're at the bottom, just be picky. Like, make sure that you're pushing for more, because they should be doing more for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, they should be giving you opportunities, and just be patient with it. Like, because if you want to be the best people took time to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, just because you see them now killing it, and they might have been like, only cutting hair for a certain amount of time, but they don't know it all. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's still learning, so don't be too hard on yourself as well if it's not clicking straight away. Like, it takes time. Do you know what I mean? So patience, realistically. If you're going to summarize it, it's just be patient with it.
Do you think there's too many shops opening at the minute? What's your opinion on that?
It's a hard question, isn't it? Because I feel like everyone has the right to be their own shop, but I think the reason why I think you see so many shops open and so many close is because I don't think people realise how bloody expensive it is to actually run a shop. Like, and if you don't have the right team around you, it can make it extremely difficult. Do you know what I mean? But I think, there are too many places open that don't have the right qualifications. And I think this is like a growing problem of why we're seeing people who have spent time like being the best that they can be now charging more money, and then that client coming in and saying, well, it's fucking 20 quid down the road. Like, that's the issue with the oversaturation, because there are places that they're not even qualified. They don't have their MVQs. And I know the fact that you can be a phenomenal barber without it, but I think you should. Like, there should be a certain level of, I don't know, like, you've got that qualification, that certificate, like, just to say the fact that you've gone through the right process. Do you know what I mean? And insurance purposes, because I swear down, like, you can't get public liability.
No.
But how many barbers do you know with public liability and stuff like that who are working? Like, it's just such a grey area with barbering, and I think that's why sometimes it seems like either a cop-out career or something that you can just fall into, because there isn't this hard line of structure with other jobs that aren't as creative. Because as well, it's like, if you wanted to be a videographer, you don't have to technically, like, you just need to pick up a camera and you need to get good at it, get a portfolio, and you're done. It's exactly the same thing with barbering, but you should have a little bit more structure in there, and I think it would be respected a little bit more. But these conversations have been happening since I was a little kid. Do you know what I mean? So whether something's going to change in the hairdressing industry like anytime soon, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But hopefully they do, and it can raise a standard as a whole, because I think the fact that I'm doing long-haired clients who are male and I'm charging them £30, but I see hairdressers that are in these like sort of higher caliber things charging like 50, 60 quid and people are still paying it. Like, I'm sorry, there's just something amiss there. Do you know what I mean? Like, because my haircut lasts just as long as yours does. So I don't understand. Even down to like women's hair, like my haircut should be lasting about a month. Like, why does that discredit me to a shorter, do you know what I mean, a smaller price bracket? Do you know what I mean? So I don't really understand that. And I've invested in myself. But then how do you then market yourself? Because if all of a sudden somebody has been cutting hair like 2 days and they've just gone on a shop floor and they're working in a like sort of McDonald's kind of hairdressers, like, if they start raising their prices, where does, as a customer, your loyalty stand? Do you know what I mean? Like, because all of a sudden you're getting a shit haircut and it's all gone up. There has to be some value behind it, I think. Like, but it's a hard discussion, because it's just like, at the same time, I don't want to write off and just say, oh, well, you don't have the right to charge this, or you don't have the right to be open. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not what I'm saying. It's more, you have to price yourself at what you think that you should be at. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think some people jump the gun with all of that, to be honest with you. But
do you think it's hard for people to keep up with like what's going on in the whole industry as well? I mean,
it's vast.
it's like, Instagram's obviously the go-to at the moment. Instagram's blowing up with the whole barbering world, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. Like, It's one of those things. I know it's hard, but it kind of should be. Do you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah,
some
'cause I
respects,
suppose if
like,
you're hungry, then you're gonna go find where to eat, aren't you?
Like it's a hard one because I get both avenues. Like sometimes trying to keep up with like latest trends and all this sort of stuff, and like who's doing what and who's going where, and it's fucking hard because there's like somebody coming through like every 2 seconds. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I kind of find it's entertaining because I'm getting inspiration from all of these different people that give me ideas to do certain things. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I quite like the way that it's blown up, but I understand for some people it's kind of like, it's hard. But as soon as you start understanding who you should be watching and who you shouldn't, like, especially for what type of barber and what you're interested in, do you know what I mean? Like, because like I have like, I don't know, I'm very sort of scissor focused, I would say. Like, don't get me wrong, I do enough phase and they are my bread and butter from a day-to-day in the shop, but it's not what I'm known for. It's more my blend of women's techniques in men's hair. So I like to watch people that are doing them sort of things, or like female hairdressers who are huge, and you know, like artistic directors like Tony and Guy and Men's and all that sort of stuff. Like, I like to see how I could merge their haircut and make it work on a men's head. Do you know what I mean? Like a men's a haircut. So I don't know. It is quite hard to keep track, but just focus on what you want to be focused on. Like, I've always been that way inclined as well, where I'll be obsessed with, say, like 70s and 80s haircuts, or like rave culture at the moment, because that was the show that we did last weekend. So I've been looking at loads of shit from that. Like, I'll be like really, really focused at looking at it for a while, and then all of a sudden I'll feel like I've done what I want to do with that, and then I'll move on to the next bit. That's why I see it a beautiful thing, because it can always keep you engaged in whatever you're interested in at the time. But yeah, it is hard. Like, it's just vast, but that's just like anything. With the rise of social media, everything is becoming more connected and more vast, but it only seems vast. It's been like this for ages. It's just now we see it more because everyone's got a fucking phone in their hand, do you know what I mean? So it is one of those things where you can document it better, and people are doing amazing things. Like, but I can't see that as a negative, to be honest with you. I just see it as a reason to work harder, like, or do more shit. Like, exactly. So
that's facts,
I think it is a positive, like, to be honest with you, like as a whole. But yeah, it can get stressful sometimes when you feel like you're ahead of the curve, or you're about to do something really cool, like, and it's just like, oh shit, someone's just brought out something that's very similar. Do you know what I mean? But there's no wrong with a bit of healthy competition, is there? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and that is what it is. It's healthy. Like, as long as people don't take it as like, oh shit, like, and like, I may as well just not even bother, because that's a wrong way to take something. Like, to just see competition as a positive, because it's only going to get you further. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's competing against somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like, or seeing somebody as inspiration or a role model, whatever it may be. So feel free to keep and embrace that feeling rather than see it as a negative, if that makes sense. Like, and that's the main point that I take away from there. Like, 100%.
Yeah, sick. Yeah. Bro, thank you for letting me come down and speak to you.
Yeah, man, like, honestly, no drama at all, man. Like, you're always welcome, bro. Like,
I'm gonna tag, just so everyone watching as well, I'm gonna tag everything that you've got going on below.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, bro.
And then yeah, hopefully we'll stay in touch as well.
Yeah,
get a little something going on in the future. Yeah,
1000%.